we're not the only video card in the industry that supports the Adobe Creative Suite with post-production workflows. So we developed a piece of software that runs on our cards, and it's called IngeSTore. We can simultaneously capture with the inputs of our cards while we're doing the play out. And what that has meant is that in a live environment, we can capture multiple streams of SDI, encode them, and let the Adobe Premiere Pro editors work on those files while they're being played out. So essentially what we're able to do is offer a high quality video card that is dual purpose. It's production and post-production in the one product. You choose to use it both ways or either way with the Adobe Creative Suite. We support Premiere Pro with in and out, After Effects with outputs, Prelude, Audition, and Character Animator. So the whole suite of products is supported.
IngeSTore, which is a multi-channel capture solution. So the software can take any Bluefish card and ingest video from our SDI inputs and write those to industry standard production and post-production and actually archive formats in a standard workstation or a Thunderbolt enabled laptop with a Thunderbolt expansion chassis or similar kind of system, and that sort of evolved into doing some production workflows that we'll sort of cover in a bit once we go over the introduction video, which John will put on shortly, which will sort of just give a bit of an explanation as to how the recording and the content creation can kind of work together, either combined in a single workstation or in larger infrastructure in centralized ingest and network-based editing systems.
Meet IngeSTore, an easy-to-use capture application which can record 4 channels of video and encode in real time to a variety of file formats. For live and on-set production, broadcast and sports, you need to deliver great quality with no downtime. If you need a complete all-in-one appliance, IngeSTore server is easily integrated with your existing storage to get recording immediately. IngeSTore has been designed so that you can not only record to local storage, but also record straight to your network storage devices. Why is this important? It streamlines the capture process and eliminates the need for media offloading from your camera or standalone recorder, saving you valuable production time. By encoding the file directly to a location on your network, your entire team has instant access to the file as soon as it becomes available for maximum efficiency. And with our Edit While Record functionality, you can start editing in Adobe Premiere Pro while the recording is still underway.
IngeSTore is the alternative workflow to recorders. Yeah. With recorders, as you were saying before, you've got to take the drive, you've got to wait for the record to finish, you've got to remove the media drive, you've got to do the copying over. That is what we've got a red circle saying you don't have to do that anymore. That is data wrangling. That is time consuming. That is slow. Over on the right, that's replaced with Edit While Record with Bluefish444 IngeSTore doing the capture and Adobe doing the edit. All right? That's the scene. That's what we are replacing for post-production. Down below, it should be saving this new approach from Bluefish, this unique approach from Bluefish is what saves you time and money.
So I would say a similar workflow that you've just described there would be I've got a Hyperdeck shuttle and I'm recording to SSD cards and I'm doing that via SDI. It's coming into my SDI recorder. Then I'm waiting for something significant to happen. Then that'll finish. I take that SSD card out of the recorder. I put it into, say, my multi-dock or just a standard SSD recording device. I read that and copy it into my system drive, which is where I'm housing all of the media for the production. I am then importing that into Premiere. I am then looking at that footage in Source Monitor and making notes about it. I'm giving that SSD back to the Hyperdeck shuttle person, and they're re-recording or recording new material to it. You've just eliminated about 6 processes there.
Yeah, absolutely. Saves a heap of time.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what we want to focus on today, and also to educate people that you can live edit. You may somebody watching this may already have a workstation or a Thunderbolt expansion chassis that has a video card, and they are using a video card from our competitor for post-production workflows. You could take that video card out, put a Bluefish video card in, download IngeSTore, buy the IngeSTore license, and then suddenly you've gone from a post-production workflow to a dual-purpose production and post-production workflow. All right?
Nice.
That's the opportunity with Bluefish to replace the video cards you've got. This is Jimmy's workflow. He's got the media from his SSD reader. He doesn't have a video card. His opportunity, he's got a PC or a Mac or something that he does his post-production workflow on after he's got his media back. He can take that workstation, put a Bluefish video card in there, download IngeSTore, buy the correct license, and start edit while recording. So that third slide, that is that is exactly Jimmy's workflow that he was talking about earlier.
Yeah,
that's your opportunity. Take that, whatever system you're running with Premiere, put a Bluefish card in there.
Yeah, and again, I'm saying that you're actually, because I'm never used to using files in Premiere while they're being recorded. So normally I'm going through a process of data wrangling and getting the files in, sorting them to folders, and then bringing them into Premiere, and then doing my highlights packages, generally re-exporting them out to an MP4 or whatever production wants back, and then they play that back out of their playout. And I think you were saying you do playout as well from the card. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's where we started.
Yeah,
that's
right.
our external monitoring to high quality HDI and SDI. That's what we've been doing since 2004, all the way up to today with our latest card. We're doing that at 4K, high frame rate, high dynamic range.
So what Craig's sort of touching on there, and what IngeSTore offers is multiple aspects. There's consolidation, so you can take what would be 2, 3, 4 pieces of equipment and potentially 2 or 3 people, and consolidate that down to a single workstation and 1 or 2 people to do the same amount of work. So it gives you that access. You can turn up somewhere and with very limited amount of equipment, but very powerful equipment, powered with a Bluefish ingest and output solution, and you can offer more than just the video preview from your Adobe suite. You can record in the background, and you can create your content, and you can then also simultaneously preview that content out of the SDI or HDMI preview from the Bluefish card. What we're really concentrating on today is the growing files, edit while record workflow. So essentially, there's multiple different aspects, which we'll get into a bit with the following videos. But basically, they can be achieved because, and it's a really good workflow with Adobe, because Adobe has native support for growing files in the MXF OP1A format. So that file format actually supports growing files natively. So certain file formats have this built in.
We're bringing sports production technology to the post-production market.
Yeah.
And making it accessible. I think that's one of the key things there, is that this technology has been around for a while and it's been accessible, but it's really quite kind of big fixed infrastructure technology that will only be deployed in certain instances. It's quite expensive to deploy. It's not super accessible for everybody. I think what Bluefish are offering is to make that kind of technology accessible to all users of Bluefish cards and all users of Adobe, and like I said, to be flexible in all sorts of different workflows.
100%.
I've got a good example of a customer Tom and I have been dealing with this past week, and they've owned the system for 3 years, and they're a German-based production company. They use their IngeSTore server in their facility to capture to Nix's shared storage and have the editors collaborate via network attached storage. They take the same system, so that's in their studio. They take the same system out to do live events. And at the live event, what their workflow is that they give a live stream of the actual live event. Might not be sport, might be a corporate event, an AGM, or it might be some sort of trade show. They're giving a live stream continuously. The camera has a loop output, and they are taking a multicam feed into their IngeSTore workstation, and of what's being streamed, they're bringing it into their workstation. They're creating a highlights package of the event and posting that to social media whilst they're streaming the event same time. So it's perfect, and we have seen that feedback continuously, that they're using it to create highlight packages in a live environment.
Yeah. And again, I being from a film sort of background, I see it as being a little bit different, but it's exactly that thing. You're creating moments, or actually doing scene edits, scene reviews, cutting together, let's say, a multitude of moments from a particular shoot in a drama, or let's say an indie, or whatever you're doing. But then your data wrangler is doing this dual function of, I'm putting together stuff, but I'm also absolutely able to be up to the moment, because you're pulling it in as they're shooting it, which is before was never the option, really. I said to you before, I had a solution which doesn't really work great, but I do it where I pull a camera feed straight into the computer, record that via a QuickTime, just my QuickTime thing, because that's how I can get it into the machine, and then cut scenes together, and then a director could look at them at lunchtime and say, oh, okay, continuity's out, or that really angled, that didn't work for that kick or punch if it's an action, or if it's drama, the reactions aren't working that well. I can see this as being like an immediate solution to not only onset but also playback, because then you could play it back to, say, multitudes of monitors into Video Village, where the editor is the data wrangler / editor / that person in the DI Video Village has become kind of the keeper of the knowledge, in a sense, because then if directors are making mistakes, or things aren't working, you're workshopping it on site. And for me, that's what I'm passionate about, because I know filmmaking is incredibly cost prohibitive, and people need to get things done really quickly, and budgets are tightening and tightening and tightening. So you need to work out a way that you can actually say, right, that scene has been covered. We've got everything. It cuts together beautifully. The masters are going to be in the camera, but I've got the rough cut and we're ready to go. That's what makes me go, shit, that's next level.
Hi, okay, so I'm going to run you through using IngeSTore software, Bluefish444 multi-channel capture solution with the Adobe Premiere Pro tools. So specifically, we're going to show you how to edit while record, so you can record your media and bring that into Premiere Pro while the recordings are ongoing. So we'll jump straight over to the IngeSTore system here. So you'll see I can bring up IngeSTore, and you can see there are 4 channels there. If I click through, and I can select the record format, which will choose XD-Cam, a native edit while record or growing files format in Premiere Pro. We'll start that recording, and that recording is going straight to our DDP shared storage via a 10 gig network. And if I flick over to the Adobe system, so this is a completely separate system connected to that same storage. I can run a Teams project here, and I can bring in my media from that shared storage over the 10 gigabit network, bring that into Premiere Pro, and what you'll see here is that the file name is actually in italics. So the italics shows that clip is actually a growing file. So you can see straight away that your clip is still a recording that's ongoing, so you'll expect its duration to increase. So if we look at the media duration here, you'll be able to see that in a moment. That'll actually, that duration will increase from what it is right now. So we're just playing that in the source window. There's a few settings inside the Adobe software to allow you to change some of these things, how frequently it refreshes, and whether you want the source window to continue to play media while it's refreshing. So you'll see that happen here in a moment. When it gets near the end of the clip, that media will refresh and suddenly become another 30 seconds longer. So there we go, that's it. It just jumped in duration. So I've kept the IngeSTore window here in the corner so that you can see that the recording is actually still ongoing. So here's some of the preferences I mentioned earlier. We've got a Bluefish card in here, so we've got video preview on the output as well, SDI video preview. But the preferences for the media you can set to 30 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever your preference is, however long your event is, and a few other properties there. So this here is actually a network-based controller we call net access. So net access allows us to control the IngeSTore system across the network. So we don't actually need to be like right in front of the IngeSTore system. You can control that through your web browser, and you know, me being the content creator or someone on the network can start and stop those recordings, bring them into Premiere Pro, start to chunk up your media, make a promo clip or a highlight package, and yeah, you can be doing the recording and doing the editing, starting and stopping those channels, selecting the media you want to record, the location, the file names. It's a really efficient, simple workflow that we bring through the IngeSTore and Adobe Premiere Pro integrations.
Behind me is how we package IngeSTore as a 3AU server. So there's 4 channels of ingest that gets rack mounted, and that'll capture directly to your network attached storage. This is how we sell it most of the time. We also have it, it's quite interesting, we have it in 2 parliaments. We have it in Tasmanian Parliament and also the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. They use it slightly differently. They want to be able to record everything. They want to record it for archive, but at the end of the day, make some highlights of the day or some edits of the day, multiple different ways, including 100%. Capturing from VTRs. So if you've got
even better.
Yeah, so if you've still got tape, we have a very high quality card. You can capture from 4 VTRs simultaneously. Some people buy IngeSTore server only for that.
With setting it up on that, like a system for capture that then goes to NAS storage, let's say, or SAN.
Yep.
Then you could have Macs hooked up to it and actually doing the growing file bit.
Yep. That the NLE is independent in that. So any connected NLE, any connected Adobe Premiere Pro system can start to read those files, because that's a native workflow for Adobe systems anyway. So, you know, if people want to create content on their laptops, whether it be a MacBook or a ZBook, or if it's a full workstation, that part doesn't matter, because the network attached storage kind of takes care of the sharing aspect of the files. And the Adobe is able to read them while they're growing, and we're writing the files that are capable of being read by those systems.
That's amazing.
It's
so you just go through the media browser and you connect to the files, and then in the background they just keep refreshing and re-indexing what that duration is as you're cutting it.
Exactly, and that works in both local storage, so you can actually have a single workstation recording to your local array or your local SSD. NVMe storage, and then reading on the same machine, that's fine. Or you can be a larger infrastructure where you're recording to network attached storage using like the IngeSTore server, where it's actually writing across a 10 gigabit network or a 5 channel. And then your editors are also connected to that and reading that content simultaneously. With the IngeSTore server, the deployments that we do typically for that kind of thing, especially on a larger scale, we offer integration support. So that's more often than not remote integration support. So we'll just make sure that when they're integrating that system, someone will at their site will plug that in, they'll connect it to their storage, they'll do some of their network stuff, because we can't advise on that. That's their security kind of policies and that kind of thing. But once it's connected and up and running and the video sources are attached, we can then jump onto the system and help them through any kind of just licensing issues, make sure the licenses are there, make sure that the recordings are going to their storage correctly, they're able to read those files, all those kind of just the early, let's make sure it is doing its job as it's supposed to. And generally it's not a problem, but we're able to offer that service to get that integrated into their facility through remote integration. And that's been very successful. Hopefully that kind of shows how IngeSTore is quite flexible and can be used in those kind of different environments, either a centralized kind of ingest where you've got multiple editors that can feed off of that, or in that in that example, it was all kind of on one machine where the content creator can also be the person that's recording that media. So you can kind of consolidate a bit of the equipment and consolidate some of the time required and the people that might be required on site.